and start a new game, you'd start with what we call the escape sequence, which we're starting to see right now. It's a pretty rainy night in Hyrule, and looks like the uncle's going to go out for a little bit of a walk.
Nice to see some bombs right off the bat. They're going to be really useful in the early game. Hopefully they're not going to be their only weapon. I think they get something from the uncle that's going to specifically be considered their official weapon, right?
I believe Standard has the option for Uncle Assured. I did not check the flags, but I think it's safe to assume that the Uncle Assured is on. It looks like we had a quick map check from Wolfie, and Cane of Berna is our weapon for the escape sequence, but the little bonus gift hiding in that next chest, we have boots as well.
Oh, that is nice. It's so tough to get through a seed when you have no boots until the very end. It's really good that these guys are going to be able to basically start hitting up the speed first thing.
Yeah, the unfortunate issue is you can't take the wand and just sort of hold it out and just charge forward with it and joust these knights. Unfortunately, they did not put that into Link to the Past quite yet.
Yeah, that's the one thing about having the boots this early. Since they don't have a sword, they're kind of just flying toward everybody, hoping that they're going to be all right. So we're going to be seeing some fancy footwork, I think.
I mean, you can attack with the Cane of Berna. However, it is clunky. And you're not going to see very many enemies taken down. You're going to see, like, a guard that has a key, for example, likely being the only ones that are going to be targeted. You get the free magic refill with the item, but once you run out of magic, that's going to be a big issue.
Not getting a lot of help from this first chest. We normally get the boomerang, I believe, in there, and today it's 20 rupees. Not very exciting.
Not everybody can just have 500 rupees for the Zora investment program. Baby steps. Part by part, 20 by, hopefully a 300 drop shows up sooner rather than later.
We're seeing some juking of this green guard here as folks take down the fella who's got the big key.
So Zelda showing her appreciation for being rescued, giving Link a nice heart.
Yeah, that's nice. That's I'm sure all these people would love to get strict progression items whenever possible, but this early in the game, never turn your nose up at a heart.
No, absolutely not. The difference between 3 and 4 hearts is pretty big. The hearts get, a little bit of a diminishing return over time. Maybe once you get to about the first row completed, so about 10. But I definitely like to not get randomly one-shot by an enemy that will do 3 hearts worth of damage.
Yeah, and everybody still has a green mail, of course, so everything's just a little bit more dangerous right now. Obviously, our runners are skilled. These guys know what they're doing, but, bad things can happen to nice people.
Yeah, very true. Just like you getting stuck with me. I'll apologize right now for that one.
You know what? Apology accepted. We're seeing our runners finally getting out of the front part of the castle into the sewers. Gonna get one more chest as they make their way through here. It's gonna have to have a key in it because they need to be able to get through to the end. They haven't picked up another key yet.
And you'll see another usage of the cane to wipe out a couple enemies along the way. I believe there is a keys that has a key along the way as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might be a rat. One of the fellas in the room just before they get to where the lights turn back on. We'll
Oh,
see
chat's paying attention there.
Yeah.
They corrected me almost as quickly as you did. It is a rat. And this is the reason why the bombs are important, because you have these 3 chests here. It's a heart and a mushroom, but still, if that mushroom is gating something off, because we all love our fetch quests.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to come back here at a much later time. And right now, convenience, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. It's also nice that they have the boots because they can save a little bit on bombs here. They can just kind of run into the wall and explode their way through these ones. So that means they've got 3 bombs to get the 3 bomb spots in Kakariko Village, which is probably where most people are going to be heading right next.
Well, I would think picking up the glove in the sanctuary won't change much. But we might see, Lost Woods, a lumberjack cave. Somebody might poke their head up in there, but seems to be less popular now for some reason.
Yeah, some people like to get eyes on what's up there. I mean, it's not a super convenient location to go to, so it's kind of nice to take a peek at it just in case it's something, 100% required, but usually it's nothing. So, it's a bit of a gamble.
Well, that's very true. Sometimes you roll the dice and they're not in your favor. Wolfie's seeing the bug net just laying around in the Lost Woods and noping out on that one. Our tree pole seems to be bombs.
That's
and Edium looks to be checking the... what do we see? Zelgadisson poked his head up there, but a little too quick for me. It looked like a bomb.
Something blue, I think you're right.
I mean, it's either a bomb or a blue, which is a 5 rupee. Nope. Edium moving down to show us it is clearly a bomb.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Pack of 3 bombs will be...
Now we're going to be seeing all of our runners covering a lot of the same ground now as they get into Kakariko Village. You can see Wolfie going into Blind's hut. There's a nice little maze revealing 4 chests here and then one in the back.
Yeah, so we'll see 5 items. Rupee. Oh, powder.
More fetch quests.
Now, I love to be mistaken when I, get a little ahead of myself on things, but I believe they need the hammer to use the powder on the magic bat, correct?
That is correct. They did get a bottle in the back of the Blind's hut, though, which is kind of nice. That's, it's nice to get that while you're already in Kakariko doing all the checks, because you can go to the little sick fella and see if he's got anything fun up his sleeve for you.
Yeah, very true. That again, another quality of life item. Oh, a second bottle in the well. Wolfie's showing us our 6th heart, I believe, as well. A piece of heart, a mirror. That's pretty important. So Kakariko, somewhat disappointing so far, but all the same, definitely giving utility items, boots, gloves.
And we got a good one off of the bottle salesman. Instead, he realized there were already enough bottles in place, so he gave us a moon pearl. That was nice.
Ooh, shiny. So let's see. We need a hammer now for Dark World access?
That's all we need.
So what do you think's going to show up first, a hammer or a bow?
I mean, the hammer would open things up a lot. So I guess I'm voting for bow just to be contrarian.
I like it.
Not seeing a lot. Oh, getting a red boomerang from the tavern. Nothing much from our friend who's sick in bed.
Another piece of heart, it looks like, from the chicken hut.
We're seeing a I think it was Wolfie who just went in, yeah, and got some bombs. Nice to pick up 10 bombs here, just to make sure you pretty much don't have to worry about bombs for the whole rest of the run if you pick up 10 right here.
Now, see, that always confuses me because there's a hut to the bottom left that you can bomb into and pick up about 5 bombs.
You know, you're right.
So I guess the time save of just buying the bombs as opposed to okay, it's 4 bombs, but 4 free bombs as opposed to potentially paying for bombs.
Well, these guys they're not exactly super flush, but I can see them making that choice. Nothing really, how often do you actually have boots when you check the library to see if there's something in there? And of course, just 10 arrows.
Yeah, 10 arrows on the library, and it looks like Unfit is the only one so far wanting that heart. Wolfie and Zelgadison choosing no thank you.
Now we're starting to see folks heading down. I think we're going to see a lot of people going into sort of South Hyrule, seeing what is in the locked behind us. Yeah, nothing in there really. It's kind of nice to be able to do both at once. With the mirror, you can activate a glitch with this version of the game that kind of makes blocks disappear if you activate the mirror while you're walking up against them. But here's a fun tip: don't do it while you're in a dungeon. It doesn't work.
Uh-oh. Now I'm almost going to want to try it just to see how hilarious these results will end up being. Wolfie looks to be checking Agina's cave.
It's kind of nice to get that out of the way. It's never super convenient to check it, but it's just one of those ones.
Zelgadison, I think, broke the game.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, turning in our mushroom gets Titan's mitts.
Hey.
So Zelgadison and Edium are going to be, putting their muscles to use there.
So they have access now to the Dark World, at least by way of Kakariko Village kind of backdoor, or as I call it.
So that would give them access to Thieves' Town and the opening parts of Skull Woods at this point as well.
And Hype Cave, I guess, if they hop down. They can even do the, well, I guess they can get access to the smith. With the mirror, it's not too bad. They could see if the smith's going to make anything nice for them. I think we're seeing a little bit more kind of the typical areas checked now, like the mini Moldorm cave here for Wolfie.
Yeah, Wolfie, well done with the bombs.
Yeah.
Edium choosing to use the cane. Oh, I saw a medallion and a book so far.
That was an ether medallion. Oh, and a nice blue mail, too.
So that was pretty good. Again, we won't know the medallion until we see if Misery Mire and or Turtle Rock are necessary. It could be a dud item, or it could be absolutely fantastic. I think I saw half magic on Unfit's side, and Zelgadison going into the chest game and finding Hookshot.
Wow, that is a really good find.
So we're seeing a bit of diversion here. Wolfie looks to be in the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, it's nice to see people kind of spreading out, especially after that period of being really tightly locked together for the first bit there.
Uh-oh. Wolfie found a pointy object. I'm not sure if we can allow this.
That's dangerous. You're going to poke your eye out with that thing.
That or somebody else's. You go running around with that thing.
Yeah, it seems like a dangerous kind of strategy, I guess. Oh, I like Unfit's usage of the bee in the bottle here. That's my favorite use for use for bees.
So it looks like Zelgadison's going to show us what's hiding in Thieves' Town.
We are at 14 minutes and 29 seconds, and we have somebody, well into a Dark World dungeon. That's pretty cool.
Well, it didn't look like too much from those chests, because you're going to pick up a big key, you're going to pick up probably a burrito and a compass, and I think Zelgadisson got all of the above.
Yep. I'm wondering if we're going to get a map check at some point here. That would be nice.
In the Dark World, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Wolfie right at the beginning, but it looks like Desert Palace is on Edium's to-do list. I'm actually somewhat surprised, well, I guess without a sword of any kind, Zelgadisson not too thrilled about trying to take on Blind.
Yeah, I can understand that. Even any sword will do for Blind, but it's really much nicer to have a sword. Although you could take Blind out with a judicious use of the Cane of Burna, I believe.
Now, if I had the half magic that Unfit had, I would definitely consider that a lot more, just because it's a dungeon that could be completed. Without the map check, I don't even know if it's going to be a pendant or a crystal at this point, but, if it were a crystal, I'd certainly consider it.
So we got Wolfie up on. He went through a bit of darkness and led an old man out into the light, and now he's up on the top of Death Mountain, not finding a whole lot up there. But he does have access now, at least to get into Tower of Hera.
Yeah, the hobo underneath the bridge, giving a full heart. Looks like Wolfie's going to try to see what's on the ether tablet.
Yeah, the Smiths look like they're running a forgery. They give him a 20 rupee that they made themselves. I don't know if that's legal tender, but thanks, guys.
I think they just grabbed it out of their tip jar and said, "Oh, thanks. Here you go. Take this."
Yeah,
Go
probably.
away.
That's why you have to take them on a tour. You can't just run right over and use the mirror to get them in. You got to take them on a bit of a journey.
Well, it looks like Wolfie's taking that Tower of Hera trip, but doesn't look like it's going to be too long here, saving and quitting.
They found a lot of useful items, but they don't have any fire yet. That is necessary to make headway in Tower of Hera if they don't happen to find the big key in the front couple of areas that they can check.
Yeah, that would definitely be why Wolfie got out of there. No big key. Got to get into the basement somehow, and just don't have the ability to do so right now.
Seeing a real fast eyeball on Unfit's screen here.
Yeah, Wolfie's headed into Sahasrala's hut, so he'll be picking up half magic.
Half magic is awful nice. None of these runners need it, but I'm sure none of them were complaining when they saw it.
No, it's definitely a quality of life upgrade, but when I'm looking at the prospect of a blind fight with a Cane of Burna, sure, I'll take it.
There's our map check. We've got some pendant action happening at the Dark Palace, and of course Thieves Town. That's not terribly surprising since we saw someone nope out of that a little bit earlier. I think it was Zelgadisson.
Well, that would definitely explain why Zelgadisson got out of there then. Just, I guess, checking the first 4 chests, finding nothing of value, and okay, I'm out. Bye. So we're going to see the beginning of Skull Woods on Edium's side. This will be interesting to see if he can actually go forward.
Yeah, you'd have to find a... Well, to finish this, you definitely need to find the fire rod. Not terribly likely, but I guess, anything's possible.
Red Cane picked up by Wolfie in Eastern Palace.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, the cane of burn is nice, but it's the red cane that we definitely need to get through
Ooh,
this.
Hype Cave
this
delivering so far. That's a flute.
Ooh, nice.
And Zelgadison finding the other safety vest upgrade, finding blue mail and a flute. So I'm going to give that a 6.
That's pretty good. And with the flute, we can get into, I mean, there is a possibility that Misery Meyer's on the table now, although Zelga doesn't seem to have the ether medallion.
He has not made it that way yet. Edium doesn't seem to have found anything to allow him to continue into Skull Woods any further.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Zelga's going to be picking up that ether medallion very shortly here.
with the hook shot, it makes pretty short work of the mini Moldworms. So there's the book. And red mail for Zelgadison as well. I think Unfitted just checked, I believe, Graveyard Ledge? No, King's Tomb. Okay.
King's Tomb, nothing there. Nothing to write home about, at least. I love watching that eyeball running with a sword sticking straight out of it. Getting a Graveyard Ledge check here from Edium. Hey. Edium's got a hammer.
Sorry, I was, paying my respects to the Hylian national anthem as Zelgadison has the goose on the loose now.
Nice. Well, he has a goose, but Edium has a hammer. I think we're going to be seeing some... I don't know. He's got some options. He might get a little bit deeper into Thieves Town. I'm not sure if that's going to be maybe the best play, but that might appeal to you if you have a hammer.
Oh, now the question is, Thieves Town being a pendant, and if memory serves me correctly, 2 items.
I believe you're right. If not, the chat will tell us.
I mean, it feels like a stretch to me, but it's completable. There's no bow, so we can't do Eastern or Palace of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
No fire.
We can do a lot of Misery Mire. Not all of it, but a lot of the front part.
Assuming we have the medallion to get into it.
That's right. We haven't seen yet what it is.
Turtle Rock's obviously out. Misery Mire, as we mentioned, is a 1 in 3 chance of being possible at this point.
I think we're getting a pendant check. A pedestal check, rather.
Oh, I wasn't even looking.
Do you fancy something? Silvers, apparently. Thanks, chat.
Well, that complicates things.
I mean, it means we're probably going to see a silverless Ganon.
Yeah. Although it does put a little bit more of a premium on Thieves Town. Because if you just go for it right now and say, all right, I want the silvers. I mean, it's a massive time sink that probably wouldn't possibly pay off.
Possibly, but there is a lot. There's a lot in Dark Palace, or there's a lot of options in Dark Palace, especially once you get kind of further into it. So it is possible that, maybe if you wind up doing most of it, why not just complete it and get some silvers? It might be the type of play somebody would go for if they thought that they were really far ahead. I'm not really sure.
16 digs to get a 20 rupee reward out of the digging game. What a shame.
Manual labor's just not worth it.
No. Zelgadison looked like he was in the Paradox Cave, but aside from a sword, I did not see anything else.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to check that whole side of things now with the hook shot. See if we can clip through these blocks here. Very nice.
Now, right now, I don't know if it's a lead so much as it is an advantage to Edium for having the hammer. I could make a similar argument potentially for Zelgadison having the hook shot. Between those two, I think they are, at least on an exploration standpoint, slightly ahead of Wolfie and Unfit at this point, but it's way too early to really tell who's in the lead. Nobody has any dungeons completed at this point.
Yeah. Edium does have the hook shot. I think it'll be showing up on the tracker in a little bit here. I do remember seeing him going in and getting it from that... what was it? Yes, it was the chest game.
Okay. Yeah, but it just... tracker being the tracker. It happens.
We've had our visit to the bat, not really paying out. We're seeing our runners kind of covering a lot of ground each other have covered, although it's nice to see somebody going through and checking Spiral Cave with the boots.
Now, Edium, I believe we know 3 separate sword locations right now. So, Edium, if he catches up exploring where the other runners have been, could already be on a tempered sword.
Mm-hmm. Well, we finally have a source of fire and light. Only Zelga has any fire or light, but at least one of our runners does, 27 minutes in.
Now, was that enough to actually get us into potentially completing Desert Palace?
Should be able to complete Desert, and we should be able to complete Tower of Hera as well.
Okay, so Desert is only the green pendant. Tower of Hera probably a little more valuable, being a crystal.
Mm-hmm. Had a check of the tablet up by Tower of Hera. Nothing much there, just some bombs.
And it looks like Wolfie's about to get the bad news, as it looks like he's on his way to do the digging game.
Enjoy your 16 digs, Wolfie.
We might see a couple extra rage digs once we hear the ding on the 20 rupee drop. Might be able to break even by digging a little more. Yeah, there we go. There's a couple more rage digs by Wolfie. So I think with that last red rupee, at least broke even from that mess of a dig game.
We are seeing Unfit getting real deep into Thieves Town here, finding 300 rupees in the chest locked by the hammer.
Now that's a drop I can get behind, because that might put Zora's domain into play, which is potentially the catfish, the waterfall cave, as well as, being just short of 50 rupees from the 500 required. And here comes our first, I believe this is a pendant fight.
Mm-hmm. Our first boss, I think, right?
Yes.
30 minutes in, we're going to have our first Item drop from the ceiling, triumphant music play. Just imagine it in your head.
Unfit definitely going for... might be going all in on potentially getting the silver arrows. The unfortunate extra drop from blind being 20 rupees. Well, I guess that's not so bad given Unfit's particular situation right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't recall seeing any. I guess we did see a little bit of fake flippers. We haven't seen anybody. Have we seen anybody take some money to the Big Zora and see if they've got anything fun?
No, nobody's been there yet. I think the best we've seen is the hobo check. I don't think anybody's been in the waterfall cave.
Mm-hmm. Since we have the Moon Pearl, that might be something, depending on where people find themselves and if they maybe were over there checking to see if our catfish friend had anything. Maybe we would see that kind of a check.
Well, somehow Zelka Dissen's first number on his rupee count is a 1. So he's picked up over 1,000 rupees, and I was completely unaware of that little detail.
I was just looking at their rupee counts and thinking nobody was really flush, and then I noticed that. I saw Edium doing a check to see what was the medallion. There we go. It is Quake to get into Misery Mire. So Misery Mire not yet in play.
Well, it is for Unfit because he has Quake, and I believe that was found in Thieves Town.
I see. So have to get a little bit into Thieves Town if you want to be able to get into Misery Mire.
So it makes the pedestal play not as completely horrible as I thought it might have been.
And our first crystal at 32 minutes. Zelgadissen doing some nice quick work on the large Moldorm.
Thieves Town, at least to the point where we pick up the Quake medallion, is going to be required, and that's going to be a bit of a stretch for our other restreamed runners, with Unfit just finishing Thieves Town. Oh, excuse me.
You may be seated.
Yes, pausing for the national anthem of Hyrule there, as Edium raids Sahasrah's closet.
Gonna pick up some half magic.
Now, it looks like Zelgadissen's into the Mire Shed.
Now we'll be seeing them go into the checkerboard cave as well. I didn't catch what was in there. I don't recall if it was anything particularly good. Actually heading into Desert Palace.
Well, at this point, it looks like Zelgadissen should be able to finish it at this point, so...
That would be 2 quick crystals.
Not so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Deserts are green pendant.
That's correct.
So Wolfie gonna give us a second look into the checkerboard cave and a piece of heart, so that's a negatory.
No, not worth going through all that trouble of making all those blocks disappear. Wolfie's locking himself out of Death Mountain.
Oh yeah, the unfortunate dead rock right there, just so troublesome.
That's one of my least favorite enemies in this entire game.
Well, those dead rocks can be little trolls from time to time. Ooh. Here's another spot where they tend to be problematic.
Their movement is so simple, and yet it is perfectly infuriating.
So true.
getting a little bit of digging happening here. I actually didn't see where the shovel came from, but I'm noticing most of our runners have it. Not really paying off all that much, though.
No, Unfit doing it. Edium picked it up, Unfit picked it up, Wolfie picked it up, and I have no idea from where either.
Must have been during that period where they're all scattered to the four winds. Aha, somebody says it was in Blind's hut, actually.
I don't think... Maybe the well, but I don't think it was Blind's hut. Either way, they have it. That's what matters. Wolfie picking up a Master Sword in the... Oh. I always forget the name of that cave. Paradox Cave, that's it.
There we go. Nice to get a sword upgrade there. We also seem to have a Master Sword on Unfit.
Ooh, so both of our tablets holding 3 bombs each.
Now Zelga is in fighting the boss of the Desert Palace. Seems to have gone for it, using a few bombs, and now trying to finish it up with this little plastic sword. Not exactly easy, but managing to get through it without taking a lot of damage. Just for the map, obviously looking to get that pendant. Green pendant will give an item from Sahasrahla, and, you know, one more step toward getting those silvers.
Now, I believe only one runner knows the silvers are on the pedestal at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But Unfit into the Hype Cave and picking up the Bloomerang, the red safety vest, and a flute.
Ooh, need some Visine, I think.
Yeah, that's a pretty severe case of red eye going on for Unfit there. Ooh.
Edium going into the back of the Spike Cave and not finding a lot back there.
And for those that missed it, because I see some in chat asking, the pedestal was checked, and it is silver arrows. And
technically in logic, but not for these runners.
But fun fact, Thieves Town has the Quake Medallion buried into it as Unfit finished Thieves Town, which was a pendant dungeon. So that's going to gate our other runners off from being able to get into Misery Mire.
Now, we just got to check on Turtle Rock, and it is, in fact, Ether. So we have access to get into Turtle Rock with the gold mitts and the hammer, but we still need to get beyond the first room. We need to have a fire rod, and we are still lacking in fire in this seed.
Well, we have a lamp, you know. Can't we put that to some use? You know, like powder and lamp and, you know, just kind of like, you know, MacGyver together a fire rod or something?
That's what we need, crafting and a link to the past randomizer. Now we've got our 3rd level sword with Edium there. First person to get to the nice comfy level of swords, I would say.
Now, I think I saw... No, Unfit just picked up a Master Sword. Okay. So I thought I had him on Tempered Sword, but we know where 3 of the swords are through the various runners. There was our shovel. Zelgadison finding it in Skull Woods.
Aha! There we go. And there are 2 items in Skull Woods. Not really too much going on in there. Bombs and a shovel.
So, yeah, chat bringing up the conspiracy theory, and I always love me a conspiracy theory of the fire rod in Ice Palace and Bombos being required so that it would be the only way to get through the front door of Ice Palace.
And we haven't even seen Bombos yet.
Correct.
Yeah, that's mean. Good job, chat.
And for those of us who were watching, Wolfie found himself scammed by Zora. Definitely a dating service gone wrong is only a piece of heart.
Oh, one piece. That's just mean. Getting some frustration swipes from Zelga there. No, I think we're going to get somebody having a peek into the Palace of Darkness. Interesting that we haven't come this way yet. It's usually something people will check fairly early, but it is a pendant, so I can understand, not wanting to throw all of your eggs into that one basket.
Now, because I wanted to watch it back, I made a little clip, and why Bombos came up from the chat was it's on Zora's Ledge.
It is.
So, Bombos on Zora's Ledge. Bo, I believe I saw that in Lake Hylia Island. So we know where the items are somewhat as Wolfie goes for a dive, Trolldorm living up to his name.
Mm-hmm. Take two.
So Sahasrahla looks to be giving a full heart for giving back his green pendant.
It's not a very good deal.
No.
Better than a piece of heart for 500 rupees, though.
Yeah, true. All things told, slightly better than the Zora investment program, but at the end of the day, Wolfie winning round 2.
Nicely done. And we're seeing Edium heading into the basement to start making his approach, seeing if he can get a nice break here, getting Invincible standing on these little blue. What are they? What are those tiles? I don't know.
Oh, let's call them whatever you want to call them, really.
Barriers.
No, let's call them barriers. That works. He'll be basically in a glitch state of not being able to be forced off. So he'll be invincible until he moves.
Now we're seeing Wolfie gonna make his way into the Thieves' Town. So hopefully he will go for it, because we know there's some stuff that is needed.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see if he checks the first 4 or actually goes in with the intent of, okay, well, I can finish it, so I'm gonna do exactly that.
Something particularly disturbing about that eyeball using a hook shot. All 4 of our runners have different sprites today. I love seeing people expressing themselves.
Ooh, Wolfie not well, let's see. This would be when he goes for the mirror. No, not mirroring out. So Wolfie might be on the right track and going through Thieves' Town to.
Now the smartest move would be, as soon as you get that medallion, get out. But there's 2 more items. There's one in the big chest, and there's one on blind. So it's really tempting to just go right ahead and finish it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You pick up the Quake medallion, but then you have that in the back of your head going, oh, there's 2 more items, and I am gonna kick myself if it's one of the few things I could possibly need that we don't already know.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, as Wolfie gets past the Hellway, as we call it, in Thieves' Town, we have Edium finishing up Tower of Hera.
So I think Unfit is the only one of our runners not on the board yet, with a crystal, only finishing off Thieves' Town as of this point in the race.
So close to that pedestal.
Zelgadison finding the fire rod in Palace of Darkness.
Mm-hmm. Early in Palace of Darkness.
I'm not sure if that counts as a sequence break out of logic or not, but it could open things up for Zelgadison, and I think what specifically comes to mind is finishing off Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's a real quick piece of work to do. You can just skip right to the end, essentially, and just go through those last few rooms.
And chat confirming that the fire rod was bow locked, so it looked like using a potion glitch to get past the mimics.
Aha, that is a really clever trick. So that could really pay out in the long run. Seeing if they can do the bomb jump here. Nope. Oh, darn.
And Wolfie picking up the Quake medallion, which we know is in Blind's little holding cell.
Yep, still going through to the end. Not surprising. It's not a really long way, and it's not a really long fight.
Well, I think for the runners of this caliber, with the fight being scripted, it should be fairly... I don't want to say free, but...
with this many hearts, it should be at least nothing more than slightly annoying if you mess it up.
I mean, it definitely, heavily discounted, but it looks like Wolfie having a bit of an issue. We're going to switch our audio.
Get to enjoy Zelga making their way through the Eastern Palace. Nice to be able to skip over here and use the hookshot to get right into this chest.
Whoa, that was a bit of a jump for Wolfie. He just kind of jumped a minute plus into the future and got a magic bat activation. Just to confirm, may want to see his inventory once he switches out to see if he's got the pendant or not out of Thieves' Town.
I would imagine so, but, stranger things have happened. Red pendant get.
And we see Edium doing some work against Blind. I believe one more hit and that'll finish that off.
Very nice. And then a nice little trick from Zelga to get access to that chest without having to kill every enemy in the room except for those anti-fairies. And Wolfie in Misery Mire Making fast work of that first room.
Uh-oh, he seems to be thinking about something here.
I wonder, what could they be thinking about? With the lamp and the cane of Samaria and the boots, especially in the hook shot, Misery Mire shouldn't be a problem. Not the easiest boss without arrows, but should be doable, especially with the cape and cane of Burna available.
Uh-oh, the menu stopped flashing on Wolfie's side. Hopefully he's not being met with technical difficulties here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zelga is heading into Turtle Rock.
Not so. Just because you open Turtle Rock doesn't mean you. All right, now we can say Zelga isn't going in there. I get debated so many times by somebody just opening Turtle Rock and then going off to the left, and I'm just like,
oh. I don't know. Maybe I could just feel it in my bones. Well, with the fire rod and the hook shot and the mirror, I feel like you can do some good work in Turtle Rock, even if you don't wind up completing it. Without the ice rod, it's always a gamble.
I'm not too thrilled about a double dip into Turtle Rock, though, especially if you go all the way up to being able to get to Trinex and then having to come back because you lack the ice rod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's faster without having to check the stuff, but it's not, it's a slog. Turtle Rock is a slog.
And I mean, it feels like too much of a stretch to think I'm going to pick up the ice rod along the way.
So we have Wolfie and Edium both in Misery Mire, taking some slightly different approaches. They both have the big key already. Edium is going back out, but Wolfie's going in and getting the flippers. That was a good move.
Yeah, so chat actually deduced just about maybe 10 seconds before Wolfie found the flippers that Misery Mire contained the flippers.
Chat, you wily dog.
So we chat surmising that we might be in no mode at this point. We know where the silvers are. We know where the bow is. We know where just about everything except the ice rod at this point.
Yep, the ice rod's
that might be what's stopping us from no mode.
Yep. Ice rod, I mean, the further they go and not find the ice rod, the more likely it is that it's going to be an ice palace.
Yeah, that's true. Ice Rod Cave was junk. Somebody was there. I think it was a piece of heart. Memory serves correctly, but, old age and all. It was a sword this time around. That's right. That's where Edium found his first sword.
Now, Edium just pieced out of Misery Mire, whereas Wolfie's going right for the kill. And maybe Edium doesn't want to deal with that horrible mess of eyeballs without a bow. That's totally reasonable.
Well, that would mean he'd be beelining to Lake Hylia Island, but it looks like instead he's going Swamp Palace?
Yeah, that's an interesting play.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they wouldn't at least try to finish. And then if you get killed by a bunch of eyeballs, then you leave and else come back when you're feeling fresh.
Man, with the blue cane, you can just kind of run back and forth on the eyeballs, can't you? Especially with half magic.
Yeah, you should be able to. I mean, even having with half magic and the cape, definitely easy.
Yeah, the cape would do it too.
We're seeing Wolfie using that strategy right now.
Oh. Chat pointing out that Edium does not have the Canis Samaria.
Aha!
It's always those minor little details that tend to overlook. And
That's what I love about Randomizer in general is so great because there's so many redundancies and little things that you need a combination of at least 2 or 3 different items to do almost everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, right. Need the Canis Samaria, completely overlook it, and then I sit there going,
Yeah. You get to that one part you need to use it and you go, oh. Seeing some nice skips. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, Turtle Rock, hello. That is an ice rod.
Wow, what a good play that wound up being. I don't a little bit of strategy, a little bit of luck.
So much for, me not thinking I'm going to find the ice rod along the way and rock. Make me look like more than a fool and normal.
Wow, well that puts Zelgadison in a really good position.
Well, I think Wolfie might be on the right track here, although... is he going to say... No, it looks like we're going to be seeing a hobo play from Wolfie. I was kind of hoping he might have poked his head over toward Lake Hylia Island.
I think they did swim next to it, so hopefully they at least know what's there. But if you plan to swim up to the hobo, yeah, you might as well finish swimming up to the hobo.
And it's just one of those things where I think you just about, in Wolfie's case, I guess he doesn't know where the ice rod is, or the fire rod at this point.
We're seeing a fairly tough battle being fought by Zelga over here with a combination of switching back and forth between fire rods and ice rods and the hammer because they don't have a really advanced sword yet. That could potentially be a problem.
Well, it depends on how well your hammer strats are, and Zelgadison is showing us his are pretty much on point, taking down the final part of the Trinax fight.
Mm-hmm. Now Zelga needs to get at least one more sword upgrade to be able to functionally attack Ganon in any meaningful way.
And I think that's going to be Zelgadison's main hurdle at this point. Lacking the Quake Medallion for Misery Meyer won't help. But it looks like Wolfie's going to pick up the bow. He's on the Lake Hylia Island area.
Yep, and Edium got the Swamp Palace out of the way. Now maybe heading over to pick up the bow as well.
Spike Cave striking out with 3 bombs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're getting a pink bomb from Edium here.
Alright, so what 2 garbage items are going to be in the pyramid?
And have we even had a pyramid check? We don't know what's on the ledge, do we?
I think it was junk.
I mean, it's probably junk.
Well, Wolfie's going to check it right now for us. And I think that looked like a blue rupee.
Super junk.
And Idiom is going to plant... Well, oh, I forgot to plant the bomb. There we go. Someone set up us the bomb. Oh, 3 bombs. So it was blue. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our pyramid ledge. And we'll leave it at that.
Striking out in the pyramid.
Well, we knew the pyramid couldn't have anything. Idiom, unfortunately, not as in the know as we are, but Wolfie about to embark on a bit of a time waste is he's likely going to go into the waterfall cave and, well, I guess Zora's Ledge won't be too much of a stretch, but we know we don't need the Bombos medallion at this point.
No,
So,
that's true.
Zora's going to give him nothing. The Zora's Ledge will give him Bombos, but that...
That's just a luxury item at this point. It's not required.
Well, not really for Wolfie, because he does not have the fire rod.
True. This could actually send him on a bad direction. In fact, he could wind up doing a lot more of Ice Palace than maybe one would want to do.
It is a crystal, though. So I guess going into Ice Palace isn't horrible. And it looks like Wolfie is going for the Bombos medallion. So we'll see how this ends up playing out for Wolfie, but it feels like it might be a little bit of a trap item.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I would like it a lot more if Wolfie ended up doing Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace having the bow at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would definitely be a bit of a hint, maybe not to spend too much of your time in Ice Palace.
So if he goes Palace of Darkness right now, that might spare him from potentially having to full clear Ice Palace down the road.
Now, of course, what's still going to trip up most of our runners is that ice rod hanging out way in the back of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, so very true. I think our runners, aside from Zelgadison, are probably going to deduce the same thing I would, that it is a terrible risk to just blindly think, oh, well, I'm going to pick up the ice rod along the way, because that's just how the game works.
Mm-hmm.
But Zelgadison actually opting to pick off blind, so this puts him on 2 pendants as well as unfit.
Now, Zelga doesn't yet have the bow. Does Zelga know where the bow is?
Ooh, good question. I'm not entirely sure. One of our runners checked the hobo cave, or the hobo under the bridge, early on, and I can't remember if it was Edium or Zelgadison. Being Edium has the bow, I'm going to assume it was him. And Zelgadison looks to be going nowhere near Lake Hylia Island. It looks like Hammerpeg's cave.
Love that glitch that you can do where you can run with an item. It's fun with the hammer, very useful. It's also just stupid and fun with the shovel.
The good
Finally,
thing is,
Master Sword.
Zelgadison solved his problem of being on the fighter sword. Although, at this point, he needs the bow. I can't see him going into Palace of Darkness and then getting silvers. But the magic bat isn't going to give him anything too exciting.
Just some love. Now we're seeing Wolfie doing the non-cheating version of Palace of Darkness. Gonna earn his fire rod.
Well, Unfit has finished off Eastern Palace. Somewhat surprised that Unfit did not go into Palace of Darkness first. That's going to end up biting him.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be heading back to maybe Misery Mire?
Yeah, certainly looks like it by Unfit just running right there and activating Misery Mire.
Gonna see some eyeball-on-eyeball action here. Assuming they finish it.
Well, Unfit, I believe, has everything he would need to finish it, so I don't see why not.
Might see a bomb jump from Wolfie here.
Ooh, Edium headed into Palace of Darkness now.
Wolfie executing the bomb jump, unfortunately not getting a whole lot out of it.
Oh,
For
you'd
bombs.
think that's why he was rage slashing rather vigorously. As we see our Mothula battle with Zelgadisson.
A hammer Mothula. That's always fun.
Executed as well as Zelgadisson just did, and that's definitely a pretty good Mothula fight, that's for sure. With all the pendants that have been collected, I've got to do a little double take right quick to see who has what crystals at this point. Who has Tower of Hera and Misery Mire. Unfit has Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera. Well, all of our runners have Tower of Hera, but Edium has Swamp Palace and Eastern Palace. And it looks like Zelgadisson and Edium are tied on 3, but they have completely different crystals dunked at this point.
Yeah, it's an interesting spread.
So Zelgadisson's in the lead.
In the lead, hopefully they know where the bow is, that's all.
Well, they're about to figure out where the bow isn't, and that is in Misery Mire.
Misery Mire just giving us a spoiler there, actually, saying that the ice rod is in Turtle Rock. So Unfit has that knowledge now.
Interesting. I did not notice that hint. If anyone saw it earlier.
I don't think so. I think that was just a lucky play because Zelga's the one who has been to kill Trinex, and Zelga just opened Misery Mire now, so they just gambled and won.
Yeah. Wow. That's well. I guess if you know Ice Rod is along the way in Turtle Rock, then you'd almost want to try to save Turtle Rock for the last, because then you just go straight from Turtle Rock over to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, it makes life so much easier not have to go all the way up to Death Mountain and get into the Dark World twice. It's, especially once you're at that point, you have all your crystals, you really are just kind of looking at the clock and thinking, how long is this going to be?
Yeah, Idiom picking up a bottle and his fire rod. So I think, well, I don't want to discount Wolfie, well, or Unfit for that matter, but is it safe to put anybody in the lead at this point?
Still, everybody's making progress. There's nobody who's really treading water right now, and everybody's got things to do, and they're moving forward in whatever from whatever corner they find themselves in. So,
yeah, that is true. Idiom, I guess our runners are opting not to make the play for silvers. Nobody seems to be interested in taking on the Helmasaur King.
Yeah, I think that's fair, mostly because it takes a little while to get through the back of the Palace of Darkness, and if you know it's not going to have an item that you're going to need, or the likelihood is really small, nice to not have to do all that work and then make your way all the way to the pedestal. Sit through the little animation and then, okay, there we've got our silvers. Like, most people are thinking, I can save all of that time by just having a reasonably good silverless Ganon fight.
Yeah, it is a bit of a risk-reward analysis. I think for me, I would go for the silvers, but then there's a reason why I'm more comfortable doing commentary than actually running.
That makes two of us.
So, there is that minor little detail. Wolfie getting the hint that the silver arrows are on the pedestal, and it looks like Wolfie's just gonna have a go at Skull Woods at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at the swords that our runners currently have, because that's when it starts to make a big difference. If you don't have silvers, you really want to have a tempered sword. Because Master Sword Silverless Ganon is a long, long fight. Like, it might almost be worth it to go and get the pedestal, if that was your only other option. Probably not quite, but if you happen to take a fall after doing a lot of work on the last phase of Ganon, it could have been the type of thing that would have saved your run.
This is, a lot of those things, it just, for me, it feels like a Ganon fight horror story waiting to happen.
Yep.
But, the restreamed runners are obviously of a higher caliber than, I would say, potentially both of us.
100%.
Okay, so that's basically a given that we'll put a little more faith in the runners than our own abilities when it comes to the Master Sword Silverless slogfest that is that Ganon fight.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is, even if you do it as optimally as possible, it's still going to be a fairly long fight. Where, of course, for me, it takes forever because I miss more shots than I should, right? But yeah, hopefully we're going to see people get good, solid weaponry to take up against Ganon. Like, it's a big fight. You want to have a good sword.
Yeah, there we go. Zelgadison got the clue. There's a bow on Lake Hylia Island.
Oh, there was a clue that that said that?
No,
Oh, they just
he just happened to be wandering around toward Ice Palace and
good.
poked his head in over there and went, "Oh, I want that thing."
Good.
So it looks like it changed his route because it looked like he was on his way to Ice Palace. But Edium's about to get pranked by Zora.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Not even picking it up, the diss.
Well, I think he's on 15 hearts at this point already, so even if it gives him a 16th heart,
15
so
hearts in
what?
red mail.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty confident in just about any fight ever at this point for Edium, to be perfectly honest.
This is a run that has given our runners a lot of safety items. We've got a lot of bottles. We've got 2 invincibility items. We have powder. We can turn anti-fairies into fairies at will, and if they had deigned to pick up the bug net, they could have gotten as many fairies as they could possibly eat, but nobody did.
Yeah, the bug net showing up early on in the Lost Woods. I am going to laugh. Just a nice little chuckle. Just if somebody dies to Ganon, I mean, I can't possibly see it happening with
With red mail and this much health and this caliber of runners, probably not likely. But if it did happen, you'd be entitled to a little laugh.
Yeah, I may bring it up that, the bug net you kind of left just kind of laying around in the Lost Woods there. Oops.
Haven't seen a lot of people going to get potions. I did see one person going to get a couple of potions, but yeah, it's I don't think anybody's really worried about that. Now it's just, got to get all the pieces we need.
Ah, and there we go. There's a unique item. Single arrow being revealed in Swamp Palace on Zelgadison's screen.
Yeah, that back area usually treats me quite well. Like I'll usually find a sword there, just like not a progression item, but just something nice. But not today. That's not being very nice at all.
Yeah, so true.
See an Edium heading into Ice Palace. Did the bomb jump there to make things a little bit easier to get through to the boss room at the end. Very nice, taking out all those stupid penguins.
Yeah, the Pengators are a pain in the butt, to be blunt. Oh, Edium, you need a key to get through the locked key doors. You cannot just
send him a message.
Bonsai your way through them, unfortunately. I think Edium may have missed a pickup.
Just saying, what the heck, I'm just going for the puffballs. Let's get this done.
Well, I think all of our runners are in go mode, assuming that they've picked up all the hints along the way. And I think it's a fair assumption that our runners have done exactly that. Unfits in position, knowing that the ice rod is in Turtle Rock, to just head to Turtle Rock at this point.
Yep, and that's where they are. Meanwhile, we've saw Unfit finish, and now Edium right behind them finishing Cold Stare.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Edium, he's still got Misery Mire to do as well before heading up to Turtle Rock.
Now, Edium did some of Misery Mire before, I think, and then pieced out. So hopefully it'll just be a quick shot to the back of Misery Mire, which, it's still a time loss for them, but
Well, I mean, unfit is literally just, okay, I am going to Turtle Rock, I am going to finish this, because I'm going to get my Ice Rod, and then I'm just going to go straight over to Ganon's Tower. Edium, unfortunately, has to, you know, take a pit stop, as it were, and that's going to put Unfit into a situation where he's probably 2 to 3 minutes ahead of Edium at minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Edium is the closest competitor to Unfit at this point. Wolfie still has Swamp Palace to go, as well as finishing off Ice Palace.
Unfit's going into to Skull Woods here, actually.
Well, this is just a straight race to the back. Dumpster, Mothula, and, you know... Zelgadisson has both the advantage and disadvantage of having Turtle Rock done already. So his detour will be to Eastern Palace once he finishes off Ice Palace. But assuming Unfit executes this fight, which, well, if Mothula would get out of that corner, it would help a little bit, but still fairly business as usual fight for Unfit. Now it's straight to Turtle Rock.
Yep, that eyeball's holding up that crystal.
So the race is on. Zelgadisson has to finish the remainder of Ice Palace and have a little layover at Eastern Palace, and then he'll be going straight to Ganon's Tower. Unfit is already on his way into Turtle Rock, but he will have to full clear it. Aside from being Dead Rock does not help. I almost think it's better to just kamikaze right into him and just say, alright, I'm going to take the damage. Just don't block me.
Yeah. Alright, less trolling from the second ones. Meanwhile, Wolfie getting pretty close to Cold Stare as well as Zelga here.
Oh, wow. Nice shooting with that fire rod, Zelgadisson. Wow.
Very nice to have that fire rod when you don't have an orange sword.
Now, let's see. Edium is going to have to go... Well, Edium is on his way up to Turtle Rock now, so Unfit and Edium are right on top of each other.
Oh no, Edium.
Oh, Edium getting dead rocked. Oh, he was able to get around it. Well played.
Alright, the Turtle Rock journey begins for Unfit. That ice rod almost at the very, very back.
Well, we still have to take down Trinex no matter what. So, Unfit basically gonna just about full clear this place, aside from Mimic Cave. And we'll see if Zelgadisson can snipe being the first one into Ganon's Tower. Eastern Palace, probably not going to take all that long.
No, it shouldn't take too long. It feels longer than it is when you know all you want to do is get right straight back, and you know you kind of got to loop around this way and throw some skulls, and
Yeah, I know it's not, a straight path, but Eastern Palace, I think, should be finished much quicker than Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah.
But then, Zelgadison will have the march up Death Mountain that Edium and Unfit have basically already taken care of at this point.
Depending on how quickly Wolfie makes it to the back of Swamp Palace here, we may actually have all of our runners in Turtle Rock at the same time at different points. Looks like he's taking a bit of a scenic route.
Yeah, I think Wolfie may not have gotten the hint on the location of the ice rod, and he's also missing a hook shot, according to the tracker, which may or may not be true. If he's missing a hook shot, he cannot defeat Argus.
That would be a tough one to miss because it's kind of it's a location that you might assume that you'd have checked. I was hoping to get a peek there to see if they have that hook shot.
Well, judging by the way Wolfie's going right now, it feels like he's not in go mode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he does have the hook shot. Okay.
Good.
So, disaster averted in that sense. So.
Yeah, but they definitely are doing more of a clear of Swamp Palace than they would probably want to do. So that's unfortunate. They're going to lose a little bit of time there.
Yeah, so Zelgadison is on his ascent up Death Mountain. Unfit and Edium are racing through Turtle Rock, which Zelgadison has already completed. Do we want to play a game?
Oh, what game?
Glad you asked. Since we are going to have a runner going into Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations where Ganon's Tower Big Key could be. Chat, your mission, should you choose to accept it, spam your numbers between 1 and 22 to see if you can guess the correct number of what location the Ganon's Tower Big Key will be.
Where do you think it's going to be?
I'm stuck on number 5.
I don't know. I like 8. 8's a good number. 8 or 18. That's my guess. I'm taking 2. You can't stop me.
I'll allow it. Number 1. Negative. Number 2.
Whoa.
I was closer. Haha.
That you were nicely done. Anybody guessed 2? We had a couple people guessing 2. I think very nice. Good job.
So that was a pretty quick and anticlimactic game. I think that the only thing we need is maybe a key or two on Zelgadison's side, and he'll be on his way up.
Yeah, taking a little peek here. Gonna fight some skeletons, or probably just avoid some skeletons.
That's a burrito. That's a key. That's a key.
Okay. We got lots of keys. Go for it, dude. Alright.
He might still be looking for the potential 4th sword that may be in Ganon's Tower. I can't think of it being anywhere else at this point. But Unfit.
That's something that could really impact, that is a big difference. As we have mentioned, nobody has silvers. Silvers are on the pedestal. So it is technically a pedestal seed if you are like me and, don't feel like doing a silverless Ganon. But for all of our runners, they're going to be doing silverless, and that is it's a big deal. If you don't have tempered, it makes a big difference.
Oh, very much so. Unfit, definitely not first into Ganon's tower, but I'm reluctant to say that Zelgadisson is very far in the lead at this point because of that difference between the Tempered and the Master Sword. Maybe it's not as much as I think it is, but we'll see.
I mean, it depends on how well they executed, I think. Because the big key was in a location that most runners are probably going to check first, we're very unlikely to see somebody kind of go for a full left side gamble or something like. Almost everybody checks those 2 chests first thing. So, rip fun games, but whatever.
Well, you're still going to have to go left side because I believe you need to pick up 2 keys before you can reliably go up.
Yeah, I've heard that it's 1 like minimum, but I don't know if maybe 2 just makes it significantly easier, or just having a pocket full of keys is just nice.
Well, either way, Unfit's going to find them in the first group of 4 chests. So if he goes right side, picks up the big key, goes left side, gets that first cluster of 4, I mean, he's set to make the ascent. Edium is a little bit further behind, so let's call it 131 and 30 seconds for Unfit. I did not get Zelgadisson's entry time to compare. Oh no, Wolfie.
Yeah, he's gonna get a bunch of crap from this pyramid, and then probably start questioning what next. Seeing a nice finish of Trinex by Edium. Going to be heading into Ganon's tower very shortly. Zelga checking some chests here as they are making their way up the tower, just in case. Maybe there's going to be a sword there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Zelgadisson is looking for, is that final sword. Unfit. I guess if he hits a butter sword, then fantastic. But I'm surprised that Unfit is still continuing on the left side, but he did not go the right side to start.
Just the thing that I said wouldn't happen is happening.
Yeah.
See if Zelga checks the last viable chest. Is there anything in here? Lots of money. Well, Zelga doesn't have silvers and doesn't have a really nice sword, but at least they're rich.
Yeah, and in a pretty good lead. Edium's about 1 minute and 40 seconds behind Unfit, but Zelgadisson's already to the geometry test. And it looks like he scored a 2 in question number 1.
Hey.
That might have been a 2, it might have been a 3. It was a 3, so 2-3-1 nice for Zelgadisson.
Well executed. Meanwhile, I'm seeing some good stuff on Wolfie's screen. Is Wolfie going to just go for the full Turtle Rock experience?
I think he is. He might have just went, alright, well, it's gotta be in Turtle Rock at this point, so okay.
It should be noted, of our restreamers, we still have a hot race. There are several other people taking part in this race today. There were at least 20, I think there were 25 at one point. And we have our first place finisher, Chirality, at 1:33:03. Very auspicious time. So, GG.
So this will be interesting. Zelgadisson's probably got one free shot here. If he somehow messes this up, which is unlikely given the circumstances, then it puts Edium and Unfit, who are seconds behind each other at this point, into a position where they could snipe the winner of the restreamed runners. The overall race, of course, already being decided as a runner finished about 2 minutes ago at this point.
Ooh, seeing Zelga taking some hits from some fire bats, but they have a blue potion. Handling the silverless Ganon quite well so far. So far, just regular Master Sword Ganon.
Well, he's into phase 3, so the most problematic parts are done. Phase 3 is pretty much free.
It's just
phase,
long.
Yeah, phase 4 is where it's going to really show up as to if Zelgadison can execute and pull off the last, let's see, 14 hits, I believe. And I believe he's landed 2.
It's quite a few with the Master Sword. I think it, yeah, 24. Someone's saying in chat. They got the torch glitch, which, as you can see, one of the torches is not going out, which saves a lot of magic and a lot of time. Very important for Silverless Ganon.
Ah, right, it's 24.
So many hits.
Yeah, because it's 24 for phase 1, 2, and 4, and the 4 hits, one for each row or column of blocks to be destroyed on the border. Ooh, that was close. Zelgadison. Ooh, a little early. So froze Ganon there as well.
Yeah, the timing is so short. There's a very specific window in which you can damage Ganon. If you go too early, you just freeze him. It doesn't actually hurt him. And if you go too late, you just don't hurt him at all. So, it's just how many of those can you execute? Whenever you hear that little kind of damage sound, you know it's gone through.
Yeah, you can hear that little grunt, growl, or whatever you want to call it. And I think we're getting close.
Yeah, this is a really good silverless Master Sword Ganon by Zelga here. Very nice.
Yeah, Unfit just finishing the Moldorm 2 fight. Edium just starting it, but also just finishing it all the same.
And Zelga at 137.56. GG. Nicely done.
Yeah, it looks like Fear Agent sniping second place, 1 hour 35 and 39 seconds. Gamachu, our third place finisher, 1:37:49. So not just a couple seconds ahead of Zelgadison, who is our fourth place finisher overall.
Really close with the top 4 within about 4 minutes of each other. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very close race. Ooh, it looks like Edium having a little trouble with geometry this evening. Unfit getting through the test and about to start the Ganon fight.
Yeah, only a few seconds between them here overall. And they both have tempered swords, so we're going to see a real even matchup of tools. It's just going to be straight abilities. Who's going to be able to get this done fast?
Yeah, Unfit starting the fight at 1:39:09. So Edium's probably about 25 to maybe 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, not insurmountable, but it's a tough deficit to make up. Especially Unfit is getting through these phases real fast.
Well, with the tempered sword, where we saw Zelgadison having to spin, Edium and Unfit do the same amount of damage by just simply slashing the sword. And we see Unfit already starting phase 4.
Getting the torch glitch. Having a little bit of trouble getting the hits in there. That's going to give Edium a little bit of time to catch up.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be close. Unfit is not a runner I am very familiar with. Edium, on the other hand, I am very familiar with. And I know Edium can execute this fight with relative ease. And I believe we've just had a intruder alarm go off. Zelgadisson likely joining us.
You were correct. GG's.
GG.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. Relative feels... well done feels relative in terms, because, man, I was so lost for a long time trying to find anything.
Yeah, I think the bow tripped you up pretty good there for a little bit as well.
Yeah, bow was my go mode. I had no idea that it was down there, because when I was going down to South Shore, I took the mushroom instead and got mitts, so I was like, well, never mind. But I did at least have information on the bow. I knew the fire rod was bow locked in Palace of Darkness, so I wasn't going to take the flippers to ice. I was going to check like waterfall and stuff like that before swamp, because I didn't have a logical way into ice without the bow.
Okay, because when you went to finally look at Lake Hylia Island, I was actually thinking you were heading into Ice Palace at that point.
Right, but since the fire rod was bow locked, I knew it couldn't be in Ice Palace unless Bombos was somewhere available. And since I didn't have Bombos, I was just focused on that.
Oh, Bombos was available. It was on the Zora lake.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that would have been my next check, is immediately going to the waterfall.
Because the waterfall was junk, Zora was junk, and Bombos was on the Zora ledge. I think you were the only runner that did not get pranked, as it were, by going into the waterfall cave and Zora.
Well, I will say, for all the checks that I did, it was a little annoying having to finish on Master Sword. So I'm jealous of the people that got tempered.
2 of our runners did. And I mean, I gotta say, that was a really good Master Sword Silverless Ganon.
Thank you. I had a couple freezes in there, several whiffs, but I mean, overall, you just got to be patient and get through it. It's not harder; it's just tediouser.
Yeah, that's. I mean, with 24 spin slashes, I think it is. That is a bit rough, but.
Howdy.
Hello.
And of course, as everybody watching has seen, Unfit and Edium have finished their races really close to one another. So GG to both of you.
Unfit, your sound is coming through.
Hearing the triumphant end music when we need to be hearing Wolfie's getting through Ganon's tower music.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. So, which did you guys double dip, Eastern or Meyer?
Oh man, I double dipped
Yeah.
Eastern. I double dipped Skullwoods. I double dipped Thieves Town. Maybe that's it.
Oh, I double dipped Skullwoods, Thieves Down, and Meyer.
Skullwoods here. I went and got the bow.
Well, you had to double dip either Eastern or Meyer in the seed. Basically, which one did you do first. But
I got the bow.
yeah,
Did Eastern in one shot.
this was an interesting seed, I thought. Silver's on the pedestal. I don't know if you guys checked that.
Yeah, I checked it.
It was interesting watching you guys. As soon as everybody finished Kakariko and kind of the basics of the beginning, there was a lot of different approaches that people took. Like we were seeing usually 4 different places at once. It was really interesting.
Yeah, when seeds get that wide open with the relatively free mitts, you never really know exactly what you're going to get in terms of routing from everyone. And even with the mitts and the mirror, made things just so much more open.
Yeah, I always do silly stuff at the start. It's my thing.
Hey, we had the same collection.
Well, I'm jealous of your sword. I'll trade one of my crappy maps or something for that.
This was a very safe seed. There was a lot of health items, a lot of a lot of just kind of letting you focus on looking for stuff rather than trying to stay alive, I think.
Yeah, you forget about your health when you have that much.
Yeah, I'd read mail pretty early, so I was never super concerned about dying. Had so many. I think I got all the bottles.
Yeah, I think most of the runners got at least 3 of them, if not 4.
But nobody picked up that that net. It was right there.
I picked it.
Oh, you
I
did?
got
Okay.
it. Yeah. On the return trip.
Glad one person didn't diss the net.
I dissed it once and then I got it the second time.
I had actually considered routing in the net after doing Skull Woods, just so I could like meme and release bees on Ganon, but I felt way too behind to screw around like that.
Well, all in all, I
used my
don't
bee
think
mini
any
mold.
of you were too far behind. I think out of the lot of you, I think Edium was in 7th. Unfit was 5th, and Selga, you were in 4th.
Yeah, it was hard to tell as you were playing through the seed really where everyone was, because there were some really obnoxious potential spots. Like for me, the hammer was just god awful. It took me almost forever to get that. And then also things like Samaria could be a pain. The flippers could be a pain. Everyone's favorite vanilla ice rod on Laser Bridge. So all sorts of things.
Oh yeah, that hint, that was fun.
Oh, if there was a
Which
hint
one?
for that, I did not see it.
Yeah, that him was in Misery Mire, so you weren't even into it yet, but you just went for it.
What was the hint?
That Ice Rod was in Turtle Rock.
Oh, that would have been a nice hint to get.
Yeah.
I went into Ice Palace. I was originally planning to full clear it. And I got 2 items in the first 2 chests, and I said, screw it, it's probably in Turtle Rock. So I skipped the last item, so that was a good decision.
Definitely.
But yeah, if I had that hint, I would have. Yeah, because I went into Mire, and I got the first 2 items, and I didn't have any reason to go check the hint, so just noped right out. Oh wow, we just had a tie.
Oh wow. That's awesome. BBB Kermit and Old Man Sunshine both in 11th place at 149.31.
Don't see that very often. Wow.
Yeah. I got the hammer pretty early on, and then it took me a while to find that Quake medallion. I was almost going to go to Pod first, which I guess would have got me the Fire Rod, but instead I went to Thieves Town, got Quake, went to Meyer, got flippers that led to the bow, so I didn't have to double dip pod. I don't know, that was a fun seed. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for running it. It was that was an enjoyable race. Lots of interesting choices, lots of heartbreak, and especially people trying to get into the pyramid for things.
Boots 45 seconds in.
Yeah,
that
45 seconds too late.
I've been finding a lot of seeds that have early boots end up being horrible troll seeds. This one was not so bad. It wasn't free, but it was not terrible either.
This would have been disgusting without that ice rod hint for me. I would still be looking for it right now.
I basically full cleared everything. I think all I had left was a one item in Ice Palace and then Catfish, which I had isolated. So if Ice Rod was one of those places, I was kind of screwed, but I just said, man, hopefully it's in Turtle Rock.
Well, Catfish was junk. Waterfall Cave was junk. Zora itself was junk. And Bombos was about the only thing that would have made the Zora domain trek remotely worthwhile, but even then, that wasn't really needed for anything.
Yeah, I checked that pretty late, and I already had both medallion checks. I already had the fire rod, so I didn't need it for ice, so I didn't bother grabbing it.
Wolfie taking an unfortunate death to Ganon, and I think maybe gonna see about getting some health items before going for him again. He does not have a tempered sword, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a trip to the witch's hut. With 1,300 plus rupees, being able to put them to use, it looks like gonna unload the bee.
Sorry, bee. 3 blue potions, that ought to do her.
Yeah, and one more for good luck. Just use one of them right away.
Why
So
not?
we know where 3 of the swords were. Was the last one hiding in Ganon's tower somewhere? I don't think anybody found it.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's safe between all the things that we cleared between all these runners. It's probably in Ganon's tower, yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, it was the Hammer Pegs, Paradox Cave, and Ice Rod Cave were the 3 that were found on the stream.
Yeah, we had 3 runners with 3 different sword sources, I think. Like with everybody had the fighter sword, but they got it from somewhere different.
I just want to point out we just had a second tie.
What?
I'm not even kidding.
Wow, D Demolisher 1 and Roofy and a bunch of zeros finished 16th place, 153.14. Wow. GG.
I can't remember the last time I've seen 2 ties in a race. That is crazy.
Well, this is a pretty crazy seed with the way you could run into pitfalls and just kind of get stuck.
Yeah, I know, especially for me leading to the hammer, I was getting really dry on spots. Like I was in the process of breaking over to Eastside Dark World without the hammer just to do it.
Yeah, I luckily got the hammer pretty early, which kind of meant the seed was really wide open for me. So I kind of just full cleared everything basically. But with the hammer, I was able to do it pretty efficiently.
So is there anything that... Now, somebody mentioned the boots kind of turn the seed upside down when the boots show up so early. Was there anything that really threw any of you off?
Not for me. I play a lot of overworld glitches, and in that mode you start with the boot, so I'm pretty used to it.
For me, I was just trying to find any sort of progression I could. So like, I was taking the lamp to Desert Palace because that was my best option at the time. So things like that. The hammer is really what got me. Hammer and I guess Quake were probably my two big bottlenecks.
It was quite a while before anybody found any source of fire in this seed, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was the only thing, like, on all of Death Mountain, was that lamp. There was absolutely no other progression anywhere there.
I think it was all one-offs for me after that. I think that's about the only time I was actually lost.
Wolfie's working his way through Master Sword Silverless Ganon, taking his time.
Looks like he's got it down this time.
Yeah, this is just an endurance test with the Master Sword. Just oh no, a freeze there from Wolfie.
Yeah, throw your rhythm all off.
Yeah, freeze is really unfortunate because once you freeze, it's almost impossible to get the second spin on the torch with the torch lit. You basically just have to go on one per light, which really puts a strain on your magic.
Yeah, luckily Wolfie Wolfie has all of the blue potions, so should be all right as long as just don't fall, Wolfie. That's all I want. Just don't fall.
I intentionally
No.
froze Ganon because I thought he was going to hit me with a bat. Then I tried to get the second hit in there. I missed.
I think that's Wolfie's second potion. I believe he has one left.
I think you're right. Trying to get a good timing on lighting the torch there. Ah, not quite.
Yeah, every time he seems to light the torch, he's a little too early before Ganon starts to release, and it ends up freezing him, unfortunately.
Yeah, the first hit is definitely a little bit trickier than the second and third, I find.
We're starting to see some rage slashes come in from Wolfie. And he's starting to just give up on trying the land that first hit.
Yeah, if you light the torch, basically as soon as he gets to his location, you get a little bit more time to hit before he starts teleporting. Whereas if you get it kind of late, you basically have to cape spin him like as soon as you think he's teleporting, which is a lot trickier.
Looks like he just got a triple there, though.
Yeah, but he's putting some good work in. Just have to not get flustered. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Well
Sub
done.
2 hours.
GG's.
And that is a Master Sword Silverless Ganon fight. Selgaditson showing us as well how to pull that off.
Well, GG to all of our runners. That was an interesting adventure. It was a pleasure to see all the different ways and strange ideas everybody had to get through this seed.
And it looks like we have our final intruder alarm of the night.
GG Wolfie.
Oh, GG.
Hey, GG.
Oh, I routed that so poorly again. Oh my god.
That is, if you're gonna get trolled by anything, the ice rod, it's that's what you get trolled by.
Yeah, I guessed it was up there, but I wanted to be sure. But yeah, the hammer was much more. Eh. Yeah, the hammer was what trolled me really, but yeah, nah, whatever.
You got through it. And good job
Yeah.
on the silverless Master Sword Ganon.
Oh, thanks a lot. I tried. I'm not very much used to that, but I think the second attempt was kind of okay. Not the best, but yeah, whatever. I did it. Sub 2. I'm happy. Not really, but yeah.
Oh, there's always that sense of being able to cross the finish line and say, I won.
Yeah, I really wanted that.
You earned it.
Ah, thanks.
I'm gonna step out. Thanks for commentating, and thanks to whoever was tracking. And
Yeah.
GG's everyone.
Our trackers, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got Sindoris and Mind of Me.
That is correct.
So huge ups to them. That is a lot of work. It is tough to track this kind of thing with 4 runners, so, give them all of the love and all of the follows.
Yeah, especially when they don't all end up in the same place. Definitely our unsung heroes of the broadcast, Mind of Me and Sindoris, keeping up with all the madness going on.
Looks like we're getting our final couple of runners finishing up.
Yeah, Wolfie, if you're still around, is there anything before we start to close things out here tonight?
Well, the usual things. I guess. Thanks for the restream and for commentating, and thanks for the viewers. It was still really fun to do.
I think,
Thanks for the stream.
yeah, absolutely. Just trying to check around, make sure the finishers are finished. Did a pretty poor job of trying to keep up with the finishers, so might want to just run through the whole list one last time before we call it a night. So just want to give everybody their moment in the since it's a little after 11 o'clock at night, I was going to say sunlight, but I don't think that quite applies.
Well, it will be sunlight for me soon. It's like 5 a.m. here.
Okay, that works. We're going in the right direction at this point.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it or shall I? We could trade off.
So I guess I'll take us out.
All right, go for it.
All right, so that was it for our run tonight. That was the Link to the Past Daily Race Standard Mode. For Cataclysm, I am Frico. Have a good night, everybody.
Happy Friday.